Hey, what is going on, guys? Either welcome or welcome back. Today's going to be a little bit different. I'm 60-something episodes in on my channel. I've never done a product review. So if you remember my last couple of videos, I had a lot of problems with my reel on my Ultralight setup. I've had it for about 3 years and it's basically shot. So decided to pick up a new Ultralight. We're going to test it out today and we're going to review it. So it is right here. It is the Daiwa D-Shock. It is a budget ultralight reel, retails for only about $20 or so, depending on the vendor you choose to buy from. And this comes in a lot of different styles. So I got the ultralight, which is going to be the most sensitive and the smallest. This is going to be a 6-footer. Now the main reason I chose this one is the price for $20, even if it's awful. I mean, it's only $20. But about 12 years ago, so I think it was around 2008, I actually picked up the D-Shock in the medium action. So I used that one up in New Jersey when I was living up there for the back bay. So it worked great for me for fluke, porgy, sea bass, any sort of small fish in the back bay. And I did catch some big bluefish and stripers on it too, and it worked really, really well. So I was a little excited when I found that this thing is still in production and it comes in an ultralight setup. So I'm just going to put this together here. Show it to you for a few more minutes and then we will get out there and go fishing. So 6-footer, it's got a really nice sensitive tip. And then if we look at the reel, it's a 1000 style reel, perfect for ultralight fishing. I spooled it with 4-pound mono. Good size, really light. Now the only thing that I don't like about it is that it looks to be a lot of plastic on the reel. Now I know it's only $20, but still, from Daiwa, it's a quality product. I was thinking it might be metal, but it looks like most of it is just kind of painted to look like metal, because this is definitely plastic right here. The actual spool part, that's going to be metal, and of course the little clamp thingy here is metal, but the rest of it looks to be plastic, so I'm a little disappointed by that. I believe the D-Shock that I bought back in 2008, it was all metal. Now I'm not positive on that. I don't have it with me. It's up in New Jersey still, but I did pay a little bit more money for that setup. I think it was $35. So over the last 12 years or so, they might have kept the same product line and just kind of made it a little bit cheaper by obviously using cheaper products for their product. So we're going to test this out today. I came down to a little body of water that has a lot of mine cichlids and bass. So I chose this one for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think mine cichlids are one of the best fighting fish pound for pound. So even if I get one that's 8 or 9 inches, it should put up a really nice fight on this ultralight, nice and sensitive setup. And then also it doesn't have a lot of snags. It's fairly wide open, not too much structure. So I'm a little worried how this thing is going to hold up against the snags. Like I showed you, it's really, really sensitive. I'm not sure how much backbone it has. So I'm a little worried about that. I fish a lot of spots that are heavy in snags. So today I don't anticipate getting snagged. If it does happen, it'll be interesting. So we'll try it out. This thing's rated for between 2 and 6 pounds. I put 4-pound mono on here, 110 yards. And then rated for lures between 1/32 ounce and a 1/4 ounce. So I think I'm going to tie on a 1/16 ounce inline spinner that's kind of right there in the middle. And then maybe we'll go a little bit heavier or a little bit lighter as the day goes on, and we'll see how this thing produces. So if you're interested in a nice, cheap, but durable setup, stay tuned, because I think this might be the one. All right, we got our little 1/16 ounce inline spinner ready to go. I just want to make a small correction. This rod is actually 5 feet 6 inches. I believe I said 6 feet earlier, so it's a little bit shorter than I originally said, but should still do well. Let's give it a shot, make our first cast. So, little windy today, which is probably why I'm having a little bit of trouble on that first cast. Did not go as far as I would have liked. It's also a very light lure. But so far, reel feels very smooth. No problems there. And the rod's super light. I could make casts with this thing all day and I do not anticipate a problem. The tip's really sensitive. Even just the weight of this 1/16 ounce lure with nothing behind it. It's really giving it a nice little bend. Now let's see if we can get ourselves a fish. There we go, mine cichlid. All right, he's pulling a little bit of drag. Let's test this reel out here. This reel is really quiet. Come on up here. Alrighty, so first fish on the new rod and reel. Way to break that guy in. I'll show you this fish a little bit better. Alrighty, nice little mine cichlid. Let me just get rid of this guy over here. There you go, dude. And this has actually worked out pretty well, especially on that fish. The reel is really quiet. I was not expecting that. I thought it'd be a little bit louder. When that fish started pulling a little bit of drag, you could barely even hear it ticking, which, I mean, it's okay or not okay depending on what you like. I personally probably would have liked it to be a little bit louder, because that is an awesome sound when you've got a fish pulling line like that. But it worked out for that. I'm going to switch up the lure. I'm going to tie on something either lighter or heavier, we'll see, and we'll see if we can get one more out of here. All right, I tied on a 1/4 ounce Rapala jerkbait husky jerk. This thing's rated for between 1/32 ounce and 1/4 ounce, so this is at the high end of what it's designed to handle, so we'll see how this works out. All right, so we got our first real problem. Got a nice little bird's nest, and then when I took the spool off, somehow my line tied under this thingy. So that's definitely not supposed to happen. This might be the first time this ever happened to me in my life. So for having this thing for only about half an hour, oh, got it out. Only had this thing about half an hour, but I don't know, because that's definitely not supposed to happen. I understand that it's windy, but that's not supposed to happen. So what's a little interesting is that I cannot feel the action of this lure. So normally when you're using a jerkbait and you're running it through the water like this, you can usually feel the lip kind of giving resistance against the water, but here I'm not feeling anything. It's like there's nothing on the end of my line at all, which is a little disappointing. I was hoping I'd be able to get a little bit better feel for the lures that I'm using with this thing, but nothing on here. And same thing with the inline spinner. Actually, I was not able to even feel the inline spinner at all. All right, so I've been throwing this little 1/4 ounce jerkbait around for about 35 minutes now. Had a couple peacocks and largemouth followed in, but didn't hit anything. Biggest concern though is, even though this is an ultralight rod, real sensitive tip, I'm not able to feel the vibrations this thing makes in the water. So if you know, normally if you're using kind of a lip kind of bait, it wiggles and sways in the water, and normally you can feel that kind of wiggle and sway in your rod, but I was not able to feel it. When I was reeling this in, it just kind of felt like it was coming in straight, even though when I looked in the water, I was able to see that wobble. So that concerns me a little bit with the rod, and obviously what happened with that reel earlier that I showed you where my line kind of got tangled. I hope that's just the wind. We're going to try one more bait, so nothing on the 1/4 ounce jerk. We're going to tie on a 1/8 ounce beetle spin. So this rod, like I said, is rated between 1/32 of an ounce and a 1/4 ounce. We tried the 1/16, we tried the 1/4 ounce. We're going to go right in the middle of that, go with the 1/8 ounce. I'm not going to tie on and try any 1/32 ounces today because it's just a little too windy. I don't think I'm going to get anything out of it. So we'll try the 1/8 ounce beetle spin and we'll see how that works on this bad boy. All right, we got the 1/8 ounce beetle spin tied on. If you know me, you know how much I love beetle spins. So I really hope at least this thing runs well with this rod. Oh, fish on. Third cast, largemouth. Come on up here. Oh, let me get him. Come here, dude. All right, pulled a largemouth in on that. Unfortunately, he did not get a chance to put up much of a fight. I don't know, he just kind of swam right toward the bank and I was able to pull him out, pull him in. But we'll get this guy back. I'll give you a little recap on that again and we'll keep fishing. All right, just released a largemouth. I think it was the third cast on the beetle spin. So obviously this thing works better than the jerkbait, but this thing held up well. The fish kind of swam right towards me, so I didn't get much of a fight in, but I was impressed. Has enough backbone to bring that thing in. So we'll keep fishing. I'll see if we can get one more out of here. Hopefully one can put up a good fight. So that's gonna do it. The 1/8 ounce beetle spin, actually I really like the way it felt down here. I think 1/8 ounce might be the perfect size for this rod and reel combo, which kind of makes sense. It's kind of close to the middle. The 1/16 ounce inline spinner also felt okay, felt average. I just didn't like the way the 1/4 ounce jerkbait felt on this. Like I mentioned, if I was going to throw a 1/4 ounce jerkbait, I also probably wouldn't go with this. Those today just kind of test it. I would go with probably a medium action rod. So overall, jury is still out on this thing. I had high expectations for this rod when I first started out. Like I mentioned, I picked up the same model just in a heavier action about 12 years ago, and that might be one of my favorite rod and reel combos I've ever used. And I was expecting more of the same for this one. But now looking back on it, in 2020, this one cost me about $20. In 2008, the same setup basically I think was $35, maybe even a little bit more. So it doesn't make sense why rod and reel would have went down in price over the last 10 plus years, unless they kind of went cheap on some of the parts. So the other reel, I believe it's all metal. This one's a little plastic. So they might have got a little bit cheaper with the setup, but I still think it's a pretty good setup. For $20, I would buy it again. If you keep watching my videos, I'm sure you'll see me using this for at least a little while longer, so stay tuned for those. I would have liked to have caught a couple more fish today just to get to test this out a little bit more, especially against some of the bigger ones, the ones that pull drag well. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might head down to the Everglades and throw this thing around and try to get into some larger fish, but we'll see. I hope you like this review. If you got $20 to spend on a rod and reel, I'm not saying don't get this, but I'm also not saying to get this. So I know that doesn't help a lot. Just keep looking though, try to find yourself one that works good for you. This one, I think it's an okay setup. All right, if you want to get it, go ahead. I got nothing bad to say about it, but there's probably some better setups out there too. So I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for more videos where I'm sure this bad boy is going to make an appearance. See you guys next time.